So hi and welcome. This is my review video for the Razer Chroma Blackwidow Stealth. And I've got kind of a bit of a lighting going on here, but unfortunately it's in the dark. It's the only way to see it, and it doesn't truly show the colours due to my webcam here, which I apologise for. It is a Logitech C920, but it's not enjoying the light, so I'll put the light on, but you get the idea. So unfortunately in the light you can't really see the colouring, but let me talk through some of the things that I think about this keyboard. So, you know, I like this keyboard. I've been using the Razer Lycosis for around, I don't know, 7 years I think. I bought it in 2009, and then it was second hand. So I'm used to it. You know, if you don't know what Lycosis looks like, take a look on the links below. I've posted a link of the kind of quality. It's not a mechanical keyboard. It's just a kind of a standard, I don't know what you call it, non-mechanical. I've been using keyboards for around about 15 years, maybe a bit longer. I've done over 1,000 keyboards. I'm in IT, so I've been playing around quite a bit, so I understand keyboards. I've used the old mechanical ones, these are the new mechanical ones, obviously. So I'm going to start with some of the kind of cons of my personal preferences that I think this keyboard misses. It's not exactly negative, it's just what I think I don't quite like about it. Always end on a high, so I'll tell you what I do like about this keyboard, because it is a good keyboard. So some of the things that I don't like are, some of the keys are quite small. Maybe you can tell on this, but I find it quite small for my fingers. They're not particularly that big. I don't know, I can show you really, I'll show you against a mouse. So they're not like, I haven't got like massive hands. I found the keys a little bit narrow. It might not seem like a problem. I mean, I've been using ones probably a little bit wider, like the Razer keyboard on my laptop, Razer Blade, MacBook Pro keyboard similar, Lycosis is slightly bigger, and that kind of is a little bit tricky for me. So if you've got really fat fingers, I'd be careful because you'll hit the keys. I'm finding it adjusting to it's quite difficult at the minute. I think it'll come in time, but they are, well, like I say, a little bit narrow, I think, for me anyway. Also, the enter key is a little bit small. I'm used to like an L-shaped one. I don't quite like that, so because it's quite crowded, this keyboard, in my opinion. I mean, it's a pretty standard keyboard laid out, but it feels like it's crowded. I find hitting enter is a little bit difficult. So if you like a fat enter key, probably not the one to go for. The other thing I don't particularly like is these macros on the left-hand side of the keyboard. I'm used to touch typing, and I find that I tend to move my little finger across because I'm feeling the keys at the same time, and I find I'm hitting like M4, M5. It would have been nicer to have those on the right hand side of the keyboard, which you can't quite see here, but it would have been nice to have them over here on the right. Like I say, a little bit annoying for me. Again, it's personal preference. Some people don't like them. I think the Corsair RGB doesn't have them. I think people do want macro keys, so I think the Corsair kind of misses out a little bit there with not having them defined, or I've not seen them. But it would have just been nice to have them on the right hand side of the keyboard. And the other gripe I've kind of got is this armrest is very small, and you can tell on here, but it is a really small armrest. So I'm finding, because of the steepness of this keyboard, I don't know if you can tell, it's quite a thick profile. It's not the easiest to show you on this webcam, but it's quite thick. So I find that the angle is different. You can put the legs out. I haven't got the legs out on this at the moment, but I find the keyboard's quite thick, and therefore I find my hands are always off the pad here, and I think my hands are always like slightly trying to do like a bent angle, a little bit buggy. Again, my Lycos had a slightly longer pad. Laptops have a longer kind of extension piece after the keyboard. You know, I think they could have made like a palm rest is what I'm looking for it. Razer are very good at the moment. I've got the old Weaver, and I've got quite a lot of their accessories. I do like Razer. They've got most of their stuff's quite customizable, so it'd be nice to have like a pull-out tray or something, or a clip-on piece. As an option, maybe you can get that. I haven't seen it yet. One of the other bugs I've got on this keyboard is if you look on the right hand side, the USB port here. So I've got my old Weaver plugged into it. I'll be doing a review on that. Let me know what you think as well. Be out soon. But the USB port here on the right, and the headphone and mic jack on the right, is when I'm using my mouse, you know, I hit it. It's quite a long keyboard because it's got the number numeric keypad on it. You know, you're typing over here. My arm's quite far away. It's hard to show on here. But I like to game like here. I don't like my mouse to be quite far away. I mean, That's a little bit of a bugbear for me. I think it really is probably one of my worst ones. I don't know why they not put it on the back of the keyboard. It's certainly big enough. I don't know if it's kind of the mechanicals inside, but they could have done that. A little bit of a shame. My other gripe is I'm in the UK. This keyboard only comes in a US form, but that's my personal gripe. I'm used to using US keyboards. The Razer Blade I've got, it's got a US keyboard, and I've been using it for a long time. So there's a few gripes, not too many. I mean, the little niggly things are more my personal preferences, I would say, than gripes. I've already said about the thickness of it. I think they could have made it a bit thinner. And the other thing is by the FN key down here, and if you can see that. It would have been nice to have it on the left. But that's my personal preference. So I don't think there's much space on there, to be fair. So the positives, because, you know, it's not all negatives. I like the action of this keyboard. I love the way it's like a stealth one. So you can certainly tell here that, you know, it's a lot quieter if you compare that to my old Weaver, which isn't stealth. It's quiet. It's quiet. I wouldn't say it's like the quietest keyboard in the world, but it's quiet enough. I stream quite a bit, so hopefully it's not going to cause too many problems. I know the clickiness of the old Weaver, because this is full mechanical with the green switches. The stealth keyboard, Blackwidow's got the brown ones. You know, so they all a bit noisy, the old Weaver, but the Chroma seems quiet. Blackwidow, but it, you know, it's not quiet, I don't think, for streaming. If you're doing WSD, you can hear it still quite a bit. So, but that's not a gripe. You know, I like the action. I understand it's mechanical, so for a mechanical keyboard, it is quiet, I think. What else? The colours are amazing. You know, unfortunately, this camera really doesn't show them off. But these colours are they're outstanding. I really do like the colours on this keyboard. You know, I've been playing around with it. This is on like a weird ripple effect at the minute. You know, there's some real customization on their Razer's website. They've got some decent custom effects on there. You know, it is good. It is good. What else? So, customizability of this keyboard is great. Razer have released the Chroma configurator. I don't know if you've seen that. You can configure any key into any color. It really is that cool. Really easy to use. Razer Synapse was a little bit crap in the earlier days, but actually they've done quite a lot of improvements on it at the minute, and it's looking pretty good. I found no problems trying to work out the software on here to make this keyboard do whatever you want. You can have it wacky, you can have it plain. It's up to you, really. Build quality wise, it's very good. I've got no complaints. You can see here, maybe in the light, palm rest is showing a little bit of my kind of greasy hands, I guess. Doesn't really bother me. Some people might find that a little bit of a problem. You can just see it here. So yeah, not the best, but you know, it's not going to be the cleanest keyboard, but my Lycosa wasn't any different either, and I'm pretty sure most keyboards are the same. Keyboard itself's good. Layouts, you know, we've talked about what my preferences are, but in general the layout's okay. For a standard keyboard user, I think it's quite normal. There's nothing special about it. It's really is just a keyboard. Anything that's different, it's got macro keys, it's got some MIDI keys at the top with this function key. I'll probably never use them. But yeah, you know, it's got one Windows key. It hasn't got two, actually. I've just noticed that. Video. So all in all, you know, I do like the Blackwidow. I think it's going to take me personally quite a bit of time to get used to it. But that's my kind of preference. I think there's nothing wrong with the keyboard. I'm just used to using Lycosa for a long time, so I know I'm definitely having kind of striking issues at the minute. You can see I'm currently offset, so I'd probably have the keyboard more like here on me to type, which pushes my mouse out by probably another keyboard length. Just because of the USB port on the side, which is probably my worst gripe at the moment on that. So if you don't like the USB port on the right, I probably wouldn't get it. Otherwise, yeah, it's a nice keyboard. Anyway, hope this review's been useful. I've tried to put in what I think personally is good and bad about this keyboard. There's plenty of options out there at the minute. I'm a bit of a Razer fan, but you know, see what you like. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out my other videos, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.